morning, honorable members.
Recording in progress.
Committee support, may I just check if we've got a required number to proceed?
Morning, Chairperson. We have the required number to proceed. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Greetings, honorable members. Let me also pass greetings to the civil society structures that are on the platform. Various persons representing other organizations, fellow South Africans who are following the deliberations of this court by Parliament public participation. We are now convened once again as a committee of the National Assembly on Communications and Digital Technologies to consider the matters that are for us, which remain today. It's us considering the aid list for the SAPO amendment bill, as well as the formal adoption of minutes of our committee, as I welcome you. I will, given that there's an indication that we can proceed, just deal with the formalities of the meeting. Once again, a reminder in terms of the rules as adopted by the National Assembly on virtual platforms, that all participants on the platform, you are all reminded to keep your mics muted and your video cameras off until recognized by the chairperson. In that case, you will then proceed to unmute your mic, switch on your video camera, and proceed to speak. In a situation where you have network challenges, you'll give an indication for the permission of the person to switch off your video camera so as to maximize the bandwidth and then proceed to speak. In a situation where from time to time, maybe those that lose connectivity and have to reconnect, please ensure at all times as you reconnect to the platform that your video camera is off and your mic is muted, as mics are sensitive and could therefore pick up background sounds that may distract the speaker that may be on the platform or disrupt the meeting itself. Whilst point of orders are allowed in terms of the rules, members are advised that you should always remember that you raise your hand using your gadget. In a situation where I'm unable to see that, as the chair, will be assisted by committee support to identify the hand whilst your mic is muted and your video camera off. Until then, the chair recognizes you and then raise the point of order on which the chairperson could rule upon in terms of the rules of the National Assembly. Members are further guided not to raise unnecessary point of orders to a point that the meeting collapses on this platform. That happens, honorable members and participants on the platform, for us to have a qualitative meeting with lesser disruption. I would therefore move place on record if there are apologies that have been received by committee support first. Are the apologies received?
Good morning, Chairperson. We have apologies for the Minister, the Deputy Minister, the DG, and Ms. Mazzoni. Chairperson, thank you.
Thank you, committee support. Those are the apologies received, honorable members. We do appreciate that the executive has put apologies, but today's engagements are mainly a committee process as opposed to appearance of the department and the minister before us. So it's just our work. Of course, Honorable Mazzoni, as a member, there's also that apology. I take that those would be the ones received by committee support. But if there are those apologies received by honorable members that they would want to place on record, so that we do not leave anyone behind in that score. May I just check if there's any apology that is left, which is supposed to be placed on record from the member?
Chairperson?
Yes, we can hear you, Honorable Mlala. You can proceed.
Yes, there's a standing apology for Honorable Kubeka, who's on sick leave. So I just felt that I must put it on record.
Thank you, Honorable Mlala. We have got that apology to be added of Honorable Kubeka. And of course, I do see that the alternate Honorable Klego is also with us today, so welcome you in this meeting. So these are the apologies, honorable members, but as already indicated, we have got the adequate numbers to proceed with our meeting. But I just thought before we proceed with the two items that we have on the agenda, just to bring members to speed, that the committee would have resolved having given the department and the ministry an opportunity to introduce the bill on the SABC, and we had resolved at the time that we proceed to advertise and call for public comments. Of course, today would mark 2 weeks since that decision was taken, and follow-ups that would have made from the office. Firstly, as such that from a point of that decision, immediately after the meeting, I think right in the afternoon, we've received letters from interested groups, in this case the SOS, as well as MMA, of course raising the bill until the matter of the white paper on the audiovisual and on the content services is dealt with, as there may have been concerns raised during the participation process on that white paper. Of course, like I said, we have received this, the committee having accepted the introduction and called for public participation. Of course, it would have appeared that there would have been a communication problem, as members may be aware that the secretary to the chair succumbed to illness, so placement or a stopgap measure to try and assist the office to administratively function. So we've gone back to SOS, having received that after we've considered the introduction of the bill, of course, clarified where we are, and that there is still an opportunity in the public participation process if at point, and will therefore be considered. And this is in line with the rules of the National Assembly, 86 in particular, which we dealt with. Once the bill is presented, participation in that regard. So we'll take care of it in that way. And of course, there is a response from SOS appreciating and valuing the feedback from the committee. So make it a point if members would have not received the correspondence. But of course, at an administrative level, it still matters the supply chain, which are not really in the purview of the and once those are sorted out, which we are confident probably by this week, this will be sorted out.
Chairperson.
Ms. Hajira?
Ms. Bodlani, I'm just trying to call the chair. Apologies.
Please, and let him know I did not hear a thing you were saying. His network was really bad.
I'll do that. Thank you. Apologies, members. The chair will connect shortly. Thank you.
I hope now you've reconnected me back and I'm audible.
We can hear you, Chairperson. Thank you.
Am I?
Oh, we can hear you, Chair.
Thank you. So I was okay. Thank you. Please make sure you don't take me out, but take the ones with background sounds there. Apologies for that, honorable members, but I was just explaining that we'll expect that by end of this week, if all goes well, we should be able to advertise, and surely it means that we'll get into December, allowing the 30-day period, looking at the 15th of December, that you'd get those public comments, and therefore the committee will then have to decide from that point on how we engage the bill process going forward. That's in relation to the SABC. Bodlani, I see now on the chat that probably you've lost me as members. We're still talking to SOS and the MMA. I take you to be saying I should repeat from that point.
Yes, Chairperson.
All right. So all I was saying was that the MMA and SOS have written to the committee, but this was received, as I said, after the meeting later in the afternoon, and have written back to them to also indicate the opportunity that is presented by the public participation side, and that in terms of the rules of the assembly, once the bill is introduced to the committee, we have to consider the bill. So as you know, the white paper side is on the executive, not with us as the committee, but we had to listen to what they are raising. But what I've said to honorable members is that you will have to receive those correspondences so that as you consider matters before the committee, you will also consider the points that may have been raised. So that's where we are. So we are expecting that the advertisement would proceed in that scope. With that having been said, honorable members, as you are aware, we are proceeding with the SAPO amendment bill. We are now at a stage where an A-list has been circulated to the members, and I'm sure you'd have looked at what has been discussed previously and whether the A-list does carry in particular areas where we needed rewording or amendment thereof. So that's what is before us, and maybe to guide the meeting so that it makes the discussions quite easier. Is that as we deal with this A-list so that we can relate to it properly, it will be good to talk to the original text, and this is what has been raised, and therefore it will change the reading to go a particular route, so that when we get to the next discussion, it will be really to finalize and send to the House. So if committee support and legal, I'm not sure if legal is on the platform, and state law advisor. Mr. Mvulu and Mr. Dejan, are they on the platform?
Yes, Chairperson.
Okay. So we welcome you specifically as we deal with this part. But as I said, my understanding it's really that that we have got the original text as we have, so that if you are referring to 13, we can know that this is how 13 would have been, and after the discussion of the committee, this is the line that is affected, and therefore will read differently going forward. I'm sure it should be easy to do that. That will help fast track the discussion, so that there's no struggle that members may not be having the documentation to make that reference again, so that the change is understood. Can we have that organized as you are flighting also the A-list?
We have the A-list flighted, Chair.
Good. You can then slow a bit, because we're now starting, honorable members, with the clauses that have been affected. On clause 3, one on page 3, in line 41, to omit exploit and to substitute make the best use of. Like I've requested, if we can just flight again, get to page 3, that line 41, so that we understand then the reading thereof.
So we're on line 41, Chair, the whole paragraph there. Thank you.
I hope you can hear me, honorable members. You'd remember this was about ensuring that the language used is also simplified, as we are not just writing the laws for ourselves, but also the committees that should have an understanding. So that's that amendment there with the new one, which then would read that ends and citizens and make the best use of the infrastructure capacity. So in our next meeting, that's what would get on the list. I take it that to be clear, honorable members. We then move to the other one.
Yes, Chairperson.
And then move. We're now on clause 9.
Ms. Botlani wants to say something, Chairperson.
Honorable Botlani?
Chair, I was just supporting your proposal that we move.
No, I thought she was saying, okay. And that's what I thought you were saying, that you were supporting that we move. And that's why I moved to clause 9. Clause 9 focuses in the main on page 5, page 6, and page 7. It will be then good to go to page 5 and starting point in line 19 and then go to 48. That's
Chairperson.
yes, I'm trying to align my notes here on page 5, then 14 of the newspapers to omit published and substitute it with publish. Okay, that's more the grammar issue there. I think it's understood. We can then move to 48. Yeah, that's the substantive one. Then we said from omitting 3 to 5.
Chairperson, I can't really hear you clearly.
Incidental to that change. On page 6, line 6. And then move to the other on page 6, line 36. Are not moving, or is it because we do not hear this part?
Chair, can you go back to the B list on that one, just so that thank you, Chair.
Chairperson, can you hear us, Chair?
I'm trying to use another gadget now. Admit me. Am I audible now?
Can you hear you, Chairperson?
I don't know what's happening with the other gadgets. But I'm trying to use a phone now. Like I said, we are now on 14D, which is just about putting a 1 there.
Agree, Chairperson.
Great, so we can then move to the other.
This is page 799, Chairperson.
I didn't hear your point.
This is page 799. Thank you.
Okay. I'm trying to check if you can lead us to the other, because I can't see it from the side now.
I think the last amendment, Chair, is that the Stamp Advisory Committee must meet at least 4 times a year. That is page 799. That was the last one there. Thank you, Chair.
And there we were saying omit the at least so that it's limited to 4. Okay.
So we'll go back to the A list now, Chairperson. We're done with that group.
Okay.
And this is just the memorandum, Chair.
Yes, on the memorandum side, it's to page 10 and 14 to omit exploit and to substitute making the best of. So I think it's more to align there with what is captured in the bill. Okay. Page 7, line 9.
Chairperson, are we at the memorandum now, Chair? Page 10, line 14.
Page 10, line 14. And that's in relation to clause 3.
I'm trying to find the line, Chairperson. On page 10, I'm just trying to find line 14.
Miss Sally, sorry, Chairperson, through you, I just want to guide Miss Sally. Yes,
Yeah.
is the first paragraph and it's the penultimate sentence. Yes, there.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, like I said, it is really to just align with what is in the bill, as this is more of the summary, the memo. Okay. I will then, at this point, because members are agreed to those as having captured what would have raised, will then get guidance from legal, which is both the Parliament side and the State Law Advisor. That the understanding would be we are taking then the matter forward, and what will come before us would be more the final version, which will undergo the processes and then get to the House. So that's what I want you to take members through at this point, or any other matter you want to give legal guidance on to the committee on the handling of this bill at this stage. May I then, Mr. Dejan, I see your mic is unmuted. You can proceed.
Yes, good morning, Honorable Chairperson and Honorable members, and good morning to my colleagues as well. Ms. Sally, can you go to the A list? Clause 9 of the A list. Thanks, Ms. Sally. Chairperson, we want to apologize regarding point 4 under clause 9 of the A list, where we say we need to insert 1 after 14D. 14D, Chair, as you can see, alone sort of like 14, so there's no 14D1 or 14D2. So we propose, Chair, that gets deleted, Chair. So in other words, that number 4 must be removed. So that's the first thing, Chair. The second thing, Chair, yes. Yeah, thank you very much. So that's the first thing, Chair. The second thing, Chair, is that we met, Chair, on Friday, the 10th November 2023, and when I say we, I'm saying ourselves, the State Law Advisor, together with the department. Because other than what we have effected here, Chair, you will recall that there were policy matters which were raised by yourself and I think an Honorable Botlani. And we thought, Chair, it would make sense because this is a multi-party committee to interact with those concerns, so that at the end of the day, Chair, as the bill gets processed, there's comfort from all members that we did our job. Chairperson, the first concern was from you regarding what happens in the event of the dysfunctionality of the advisory committee. And I think, Chairperson, you are correct because you are guided by Section 25 of the SAPO Act, which speaks about the intervention by the minister. And you will see, Chair, that in terms of Section 25.3, they speak about the process where the minister, for instance, issues a directive, gives the members of the board outing, and of course, in terms of Section 25.4a, then the minister appoints an administrator in the event of the dysfunctionality of the board. So I think, Chair, your concern was well placed and well received, because I think the question you are asking was that, given that there is that in the Act regarding the board, and you don't see such a section as it relates to the advisory committee. And Chair, just to put comfort to you, Chair, if you look at clause 14D of the bill in question, Chair, it speaks about the removal from the advisory committee. But if you read it with clause 14E for A and B, Chair, it says that if a member of the STEM authority committee dies or vacates his or her office before the expiration of his or her term of office, the minister must appoint another person to hold office for the unexpired portion of the period for which that person's successor was appointed. So I was saying that other than the fact that there's a clause which speaks about the removal, and of course, if you look at you look at share 14D, I mean A and B, you will see that it speaks about instances where there's misconduct within the advisory committee or on account of inability to perform the activities effectively. So I'm saying, if you read clause 14D A and B together with clause 14E to A and B, you will see there, Chair, that if, for instance, the advisory committee meets in January, as we said, they must meet 4 times a year, which is once quarterly. If they meet in January, Chair, and there's dysfunctionality, their second meeting will be in the second quarter, and by that time, the minister shall have appointed people to replace even the entire advisory committee. So we make a distinction, Chair, here between the board and, of course, the advisory committee. Now, the other issue which the chairperson asked and was concerned about was in respect of, I think it's clause 3T, where it speaks about the duties and mandate of the post office. And of course, T says, provide any business that is responsive to the needs of users, consumers, and citizens, and exploit, but of course, we've now changed exploit, the infrastructure capacity to extract value and forge partnerships with other stakeholders with the approval of the minister. Now, I think the chairperson was concerned about whether this clause should be time-bound. And I think our view, Chair, is that given that when you talk about duties and the mandate of the post office, you talk about duties in the ordinary course. So our view, Chair, is that it does not have to be time-bound because it merely underscores the point that any duties which the post office may provide from time to time, as long as those, Chair, have been approved. And then, Chair, there were other policy issues that were raised by Honorable Bodlani as well. And I think the department, Chair, through you, Chairperson, the department is here, Chair, to place Honorable Bodlani, Chair, in comfort. If you may just give them the platform, Chair, but through you, Chairperson, thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm not sure if there is a person from the department, or I see TCTT there. If you are to respond to specific matters as raised in your meeting of Friday, I'll give to you to respond.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Honorable Chair. Good morning, honorable members, and good morning, colleagues. Yes, I will give response to some of the issues that were raised during the meeting. If you may allow me, Honorable Chair, to just switch off the camera.
Yes, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Chair, one of the issues that was raised by Honorable Bodlani that we thought we should at least respond to was on Section 1, on the definition of financial services. The comment was raised that the last part of the definition that says the minister may determine from time to time other financial services that SAPO may provide. The concern was that this gives too much powers to the minister and should be deleted. So in discussion with the legal advisor and also Office of the Chief State Law Advisor, were saying that given the rapid development of the sector and also within the international spectrum, the intention really is to empower the minister to determine other services that SAPO may provide, and this so that we don't have to go through the legislative amendment route, which may take longer for such to happen. We have the UPU, which is an international body responsible for postal policies globally. And they indeed, from time to time, enhance the service products that designated operators, which in our case is the post office, may provide. And should that happen and that such services are determined from that international organization, we should also, from our side, allow the post office to provide such services as will be for other designated operators globally. So we are not trying to give the minister unlimited power. As such will be done, obviously, within the ambit of the law and obviously in consultation with other stakeholders. Just recently, Honorable Chair, we received a report that financial services that are being provided by SAPO contributes to their, it's one of the second biggest actually contributor to SAPO's revenue. So we wouldn't want to hamstring the post office when opportunity arises that they can provide these particular services in line with international best practice, Honorable Chair. The other issue that was not touched on by the legal advisor is also again the issue that was raised by Honorable Botlana in terms of the objection to the stamp advisory committee provisions. I think as in general, if I'm not mistaken, stating that this might not be necessary as it's a sort of a redundant structure. Honorable Chair, and in our discussions and in our response, we are saying that the stamps and philatelic products, as also known internationally, is still part of the postal business and remain a payment method utilized by all post offices globally in their exchange of communications, which includes letters and parcels. So they are therefore used in the exchange of both international and domestic mail, and that will include your parcels and letters. So for every parcel that goes from out of the country or even locally, there has to be a stamp on it. So we are saying stamps are seen as currency as the design and security features on it is very critical. Hence, its attract value. It attracts so much value through stamp collectors who have organized themselves through the International Philately Organization, also known as FIB. Chairperson, as you may recall, that we successfully hosted the International Philately Exhibition last year in Cape Town, where there were so many stamp collectors, and the South African Post Office still plays a critical role in this regard. So whatever that is depicted on the stamp is of critical importance to attract value and speaks to the country's history, culture, development, and the stamp advisory committee thereof is critical in this regards to advise on the themes that the country has to depict in the stamps. So we, however, acknowledge that as we move towards digitization, these philatelic product stamps will ensure that they can be digitally developed and even digitally acquired or sold by the post office, as many designated operators are also moving towards digitizing their philatelic products. So we thought, Chair, to respond to some of the concerns that were raised by honorable members, so that to give comfort and clarity on those issues. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, TCT. I take it, honorable members, these clarities are strengthening the understanding we had when we're having a discussion on these points. Of course, other matters get to be handled and refined as you get the legislation to be practically implemented. Of course, the legislation is understood to be giving the general point, more of an overview level, but other things are learned more as we get to implement the legislation. So with that having been said, like I said, we would also afford you legal to indicate as the next step whether we're correct in that score. That once the committee having agreed on this one that's presented before us that carries the amendments as per our discussions, so we will now move to the last leg in that regard, which will then help us to get to the House. So I wanted you to speak to that, and probably an indication, again, having learned from the post-bank bill, from a point of time, you need to put that together and be able to get back to the committee, so that we do not have many to and fro's that this could not be captured properly, like the correction we made on 14D, insertion of one or deletion of one. So that's I think where we are. Can I get an indication from yourselves on the next step and what we probably need to focus on?
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, my understanding is that, of course, once the members have adopted, the A list, so what will happen, Chair, is that the committee secretariat can send and ask for proofs from pleader. And of course, we check those proofs, Chair, and if we're happy with them, that will comprise part of the P version of the bill. And of course, Chair, at the next sitting, Chairperson, the committee Chair should just check whether all that is indicated here has been incorporated. And of course, if the committee is happy with that, then you are correct, Chair, that the next step is the House. Thanks, Chair.
Is there any member, honorable members, who would want further clarities before we get to the formal adoption of the A list as discussed? Any member who wants clarity? So it would appear we were fine. Of course, understanding the general view of or the position of different parties, we'll keep that in mind, but we still have to get formally the adoption of this, so that all the corrections could then be done, and we get in the next sitting to finalize the bill. Can I get just an indication, honorable members, moving that there's adoption? And second.
I move adoption, Honorable Chair.
Honorable Tim moves. Can I get seconder?
I second, Honorable Chair.
Honorable seconds. The objection, other than what I've raised, as the general position that we're given. So no objections, except for what the Democratic Alliance asked that it be recorded in the previous meeting. So the A list is therefore adopted and would then get to the next step in the next meeting. I must once again thank the legal section of Parliament and the state law advisors for being with us from the legal side of things, but as well as the interest from the department, in particular those that are dealing with the bill, so that as discussions ensue, they are already also thinking about practical measures to realize the spirit and intent of this law that's being introduced. We thank you for that. This will then conclude this item. And as I usually say, I do not want to keep people who need to do work elsewhere against their will. If you so wish, you leave the platform. But if you want to stay and listen to the committee adopting its minutes, you're still free to do so. Otherwise, we really thank you for making time for this committee work. Thank you. Honorable members, would now go to the minutes of 7th of November as they are presented to you. Bodlani, you must check your surname because there was a new one introduced today and I thought you would raise it. As there are no matters raised in the minutes, may I then get a move and second for adoption of minutes?
I move for the adoption of the minutes, Chair.
Is that Honorable Kumbu moves? Can I get a seconder?
Chair, may I was looking at the attendance, Honorable Chair. Of course, I'm getting older. So I didn't see my name there. Possible, maybe. I don't remember missing a meeting. I may make a mistake, maybe, but I don't remember missing that meeting. I was part of the meeting. If that is agreed, Chair, then
no, the changes we're discussing now on the A list contributed to exploit a number of exploitations. Now being exploited in the process.
No, Honorable Chair, I second Honorable Kumbu.
No, thanks. With that amendment, I take it that we are then seconding. So the minutes are seconded. Any objection in us adopting the minutes? No objection. So the minutes are agreed to. Honorable members, as this then concludes, isn't it committee support? Those were the only two items.
That is correct, Chairperson.
So this concludes then.
Thank you, Makosonke.
The meeting stays adjourned as I allow Ezekiel Mulala to go to the house.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.